script at the Olympic exhibition. And for once, nobody is talking about his jumps. Just over a week after crumbling under the weight of the world, he stepped back onto that cursed ice to deliver a gut-wrenching manifesto on sanity. Forget your standard routine. This was raw, unfiltered reality. He exposed the brutal toll of chasing gold, capping it off with a finale that dropped a pin-drop silence over the entire stadium. It all went down this past Saturday, February 21st, when the Milano Arena welcomed the world's best back for the exhibition showcase. Despite crashing to 8th in the singles competition, the organizers knew they couldn't hold the gala without him. He seized that spotlight to rattle the industry's cage, gliding out not in sequins, but in a drab gray hoodie and distressed denim. Emblazed across his chest, the word fear hung upside down, a stark symbol of his internal state. He moved to the haunting beat of NF's Fear, make a track dedicated to the suffocating grip of anxiety and the battle for control. Rather than dazzling us with smiles, Ilia reenacted the nightmare of his competitive collapse step by agonizing step. Once the music faded, he opened up to the press about the message buried in the movement. He confessed that the routine was a physical manifestation of the emotional storm he has weathered over the last 12 months. But he didn't stop there. And he described a suffocating mix of outside expectations and inner demons. A torture chamber of noise that no competitor should ever have to endure. Rewind 8 days, and he recalled how terror hijacked his brain the moment he froze in his opening stance. With heavy limbs and lungs refusing air, he spiraled out of control while millions of eyes demanded nothing less than a masterpiece. And tonight, he forced us all to witness exactly what that internal wreckage feels like. We saw the doom scrolling, as the recoil from the lens, the retreat into his hood, a literal breakdown on skates, honoring the fear that paralyzed him on Friday the 13th. This was the moment he snatched the narrative back, flipping the script on what is usually a lighthearted victory lap. Usually it is all sequins, pop hits, and party tricks, a carefree zone devoid of scorecards. Malinin transformed the rink into a psychologist's couch, teaching a global masterclass on trauma in a way no Olympian has dared to before. He painted a picture of his own destruction on the very surface that broke him far from your typical Sunday showcase. It was a declaration of war on silence, and just getting on that roster was historic, considering the gala is usually reserved for the podium finishers. Those who bring home the hardware are the ones who typically get the center stage solos. Finishing way down in 8th, Ilia should have been sidelined, but the powers that be bent the rules just for him. They cleared the way because he is the quad god, a team gold medalist, and a superstar whose voice the world simply had to hear. The American phenom actually took to the ice for 2 separate appearances that night. He kicked things off alongside his compatriots in a high-energy group number set to classic rock anthems. But it was his solo run to fear that shattered expectations, leaving a mark that lasted well into the final curtain call. Later, he and Francis Adam C. Himfa threw caution to the wind, syncing up for a casual tandem backflip. However, the solo was where the magic happened. After pantomiming his collapse, he defied gravity with a pristine quadruple rotation. Next came the signature stunner, a backflip landing on a single blade. A move outlawed for 5 decades until the ISU finally approved it in June 2024. You don't get points for it, but the roar from the stands proved you don't need a scorecard to win the room. Yet the stadium erupted into a floor-shaking ovation. But the applause wasn't just for the athletics. They were cheering for the raw guts it took to strip away the facade and expose the crushing weight placed on these young stars. NBC's Tara Linsky nailed it when she said this trauma would only make him stronger. A sentiment echoed by the visible emotion on his face as he stopped. Every soul in that building felt the burden he had been lugging around, honoring his refusal to stay silent about his mental battles. Following the lowest point of his professional life, he found redemption in a standing ovation for simply displaying his wounds. Yet the true showstopper was the chilling final gesture. As he closed out the set, he pontooned sliding heavy headphones over his ears, and instantly the audio cut to dead silence. There he stood, dead center, finally drowning out the trolls, the cameras, and the crushing expectations that had nearly eaten him alive. The hush that fell over the arena was louder than any cheer, a masterful reclamation of control. He was symbolically canceling the noise of the world that broke him, delivering a finale that sent shivers down everyone's spine. Thousands watched in breathless silence as he found his peace. But make no mistake, this was not a farewell. It was a notice. Post-Gala, Ilia set his sights on the World Championships in Prague. Running from March 23rd through the 29th, he is stepping back into the arena to protect his throne. Already a two-time global ruler, having claimed victory in 2024 and 2025. Now he is hunting a historic hat-trick 3 straight crowns. When speaking to the Olympic press, he made his intentions crystal clear. He is hungry for what he calls his redemption competition, noting that if the stars align, he will finally find peace. Listen to that phrasing, redemption. Not just a return, but a reckoning. The last legend to pull off a 3-repeat was the American icon, Nathan Chen, who dominated from 2018 to 2021. Ilia is chasing that exact level of immortality. He returned to the very ice that shattered his dreams to artistically reenact his unraveling, working through the pain and seizing back the res, scrolling through digital vitriol, shrinking from the lens, burying himself in a hoodie, followed by that defiance, then absolute stillness. That is what it looks like when a competitor rewrites their own destiny. The games crushed his spirit on February 13th. Yet by February 21st, he had transmuted that grief into arguably the most visceral declaration on mental resilience ever witnessed on Olympic ice, blending sport with raw therapy. We have simply never seen an athlete dare to do this before. To choreograph your own psychological break and broadcast a battle plan for salvation just 8 days later. Here's the crucial takeaway. The quad god who buckled under the weight of the rings has proven he has fully digested the failure. He stared down his demons and is returning not as a victim, but as a threat. He has tasted the bitterest pressure imaginable. Having survived a career-defining nightmare on the planet's biggest stage, he is marching toward Prague just 6 weeks post-disaster to safeguard his championship. That exhibition routine was a warning shot to every rival. He may have stumbled, but he is far from finished. The quad god has officially re-entered the chat. But understand, Ilia's actions on that gala ice transcend the sport itself. He demonstrated that competitors do not have to suffer in silence. They can paint a picture of their internal battles. They can be vulnerable about the crushing weight on their shoulders and still reign supreme. It was a masterclass in showing the world exactly what Olympic stress does to the human mind. Above all, it was tangible evidence that you can walk through the fire, heal the burns, and emerge more formidable. So, will Ilia conquer the ice in Prague? Can he rise from the ashes and seize his title once more? Drop your predictions in the comments and hit that subscribe button. We will be tracking every second of this redemption arc come March. The quad god just put the world on notice. 6 weeks until Prague. The true saga is only now unfolding.